Hello everyone, you're now with me, Ruben Gomez for TVS Nightline. Now, let's moving on to the news. A special sitting of DEWAN RAKYAT will be held for 5 days from July 26 and August 2nd, 2021. The Senate, however, will convene for 3 days from August 3rd to 5th.
Sitting is to explain to all members of Parliament about the National Recovery Plan and to amend all legislation and rules to enable Parliament sitting to be held in a hybrid manner. All members of the Cabinet has also been notified about the matter through a Cabinet note.
And here's the latest update. The KAPIT Division and TELANG USAN District in Miri Division have been declared as African swine fever ASF disease control areas following suspected outbreaks in the neighboring country.
Deputy Chief Minister Dato Amar Douglas Uga Ambas made the declaration today in view of news reports of suspected African swine flu outbreaks in the provinces of Nunukan and Krayan in Indonesia's Kalimantan Utara, which are close to KAPIT and TELANG USAN. According to Sarawak Department of Veterinary Services Director Dr. Adrian Susin Ambud, the public are advised to refrain from feeding table scrap to pigs, moving live pigs, pork or pork products out and into these areas, and bringing or purchasing any pork or pork products into and out of these areas. Pig farmers in other divisions were also advised to step up their vigilance by tightening their farm biosecurity and discourage visitors to their farms, besides reporting any abnormal mortality to the nearest veterinary office. Additionally, bringing in pork or pork products to Sarawak without a permit from the State Veterinary Authority is an offence under Section 9(1) of the Veterinary Public Health Ordinance 1999.
On to another development. After a 5-day manhunt operation, 2 escapees from the Puncak, Borneo prison last week have finally been captured. The 2 escaped detainees were captured by the General Operation Force GOF Tiger Platoon in the forest near Mile 11 housing estate this afternoon.
Palawan Police Chief Superintendent Aidil Bul Hassan, when contacted, said a police air unit had been deployed to the search location following public tip-off. Other parties involved in the search operation include a K9 unit, the Palawan District Police, and Puncak Borneo Prison personnel. Both suspects were detained under Section 457 of the Penal Code and Section 39B of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952. In the incident on July 1st, 4 detainees escaped from a prison transit house during a thunderstorm around 5:10 p.m. However, 2 of them have been detained around 6:25 p.m. and 10:50 p.m. at Prima housing area near the prison.
Now, over 27 million worth of confiscated goods were recorded by the General Operations Force Sarawak Brigade for the first half of 2021. GOF Sarawak Brigade Commander Senior Assistant Commissioner Saini Bongkek revealed that the confiscations were made in 229 raids, as well as involved 754 arrests and deportations of illegal immigrants.
Tempat-tempat yang tumpuan penyelundup ini adalah di kawasan Kuching, Serian, Seri Aman, di mana tempat-tempat ini adalah tempat-tempat yang mempunyai permintaan tinggi dari segi peluang-peluang pekerjaan, terutama dari sudut dari sektor pembuatan, peladangan, pembinaan dan lain-lain, di mana ini adalah faktor penarik bagi pendatang-pendatang ini untuk datang bekerja di sini.
According to him, contraband cigarettes make up the bulk of the confiscations, valued at 16.3 million ringgit, followed by timber at 4.9 million ringgit and vehicles at 4.4 million ringgit. All the seizures were made statewide under Op Libas, Op Contraband, and Op Bersepadu Khazanah. In other developments, 128 local men and 21 local women worked as transporters, 137 foreign men and 32 foreign women were arrested, while 267 men and 69 women were deported to their country of origin, Indonesia. All arrests and seizures were made under the Immigration Act 1963, Customs Act 1967, Dangerous Drugs Act 1952, Anti-Trafficking in Persons and Anti-Smuggling of Migrants Act, Sarawak Forest Ordinance 2015, Sarawak Wildlife Protection Ordinance 1998, and other relevant acts. The transporters are believed to be paid a minimum of 300 ringgit for every trip of bringing in illegal immigrants into national borders by foot and vehicle. SWINE also noted that the syndicate often changed up their modus operandi on journeys and temporary transits.
Sementara RM562,526 melibatkan arak dan minuman keras yang diseludup. Selain daripada itu, sebanyak 28,865 ringgit nilai dadah yang dirampas dan hidupan serta tumbuhan yang dilindungi sebanyak bernilai 222,000 ringgit telah dirampas.
Syrian is often the hotspot for illegal immigrants entering the country, owing to high employment opportunities in the manufacturing, agriculture, and construction sectors, as well as other factors that ensure safe and comfortable livelihoods.
A local man in Cebu fell to the allure of double returns on investment when he lost over 40,000 ringgit in an apparent investment scheme.
Cebu District Police Chief, Assistant Commissioner of Police Jonathan Ringgit said the victim met the woman through the Tantan application on 30th June. The woman then introduced an investment scheme in the online shopping app which could net a 5% return on every ringgit invested. The victim also inquired the suspect about the promised investment returns, but he was told he needed to complete 2 more transactions. The victim felt he was cheated after he did not receive any returns, and he filed a police report immediately after. The case is being investigated under Section 420 of the Penal Code for fraud.
A huge crocodile that goes by the name Bujang Sato was successfully caught by the Swift Wildlife Action Team SWAT of the Sarawak Forestry Corporation SFC on the banks of Sarawak River, Sato. The catch was made in an operation conducted by SFC SWAT this morning.
Abang Arabi, who is also Second Deputy Chief Executive Officer of Sarawak Forestry Corporation, said the reptile measuring 11 feet was sent to Jung's Crocodile Farm for further action.
Sebenarnya saya ada special berkenaan dengan bujang satuk tu. Kita biasanya setiap ada satu kes, bila kita buat siasatan ke bawah, kita akan bertemu dengan orang kampung. Jadi di setiap kawasan tersebut yang ada beberapa keunikan, kita tahu apa yang unik di kampung-kampung tersebut lah. Jadi orang kawasan-kawasan tersebutnya akan memberi nama kepada haiwan-haiwan tersebut. Jadi di dalam kes tu kita dapati setelah beberapa siasatan dan setelah beberapa maklumat diambil orang Libah, orang sepanjang Sungai Sarawak tu suka nyebut salah ada boyak, bujang satuk lah. Saya lebih luang kedaya lah. Sebab kita difahamkan daripada laporan kebanyakan penemuan buayak tu, even di dalam viral di dalam Facebook juga, bahawa buayak tu selalu ngelayur kata orang, ngelayur di dalam kawasan Satok. Kawasan Satok ya lebih kuranglah kita identify di dalam plan kita, dalam map kita, di antara Kampung Kude sehinggalah Kampung Tupung sehinggalah kawasan waterfront. Hanya sepanjang siasatan kita, buayak yang minggat around tu buayak yang sama. Jadi orang kampung ataupun orang-orang sepanjang di kampungnya pun juga tutuplah bujang satuk. Jadi untuk kita identify haiwan-haiwan tersebut untuk kita mark di dalam operasi kita, maka kita sebutnya sebagai bujang satuk. Lebih kurang kedaya lah cerita. There are nothing special about the bujang satuk pun nama lah.
Now on to another development. State Disaster Fund received contributions of 2 million ringgit from Land Custody and Development Authority, LCDA Holdings Sendirian Berhad. The contribution was handed over to Chief Minister Datuk Petinggi Abang Johari Tunopeng during a brief ceremony at his office in Wisma Bapa, Malaysia. Representing LCDA was its chairman Tan Sri Abdul Aziz Hussain, who has accompanied by agency's General Manager Mona Lisa Zaidel.
Don't know what to do next.
Spider.
Can this be safe? 等他冷静一下。
Malaysian style.
Kau Malaysian style ah?
Kita shouldn't use the same spoon. That's correct. That's good.
你看的是 all the other contestants say.
比我做铁花更难。猫山王，我也希望他赢了。
Rocking your weekend with a wide selection of music videos. From your favorite local artists to the fiercely indies, we've got you covered. Weekend Vibes new season every Sunday at 12:30 PM only on TVS channel 122.
Mulai dengan Nasharuddin. Nervous kan? Nervous. Merah, we can do it. Jangan disentuh, mau sekali disentuh. Di episod ke-6 rancangan Shirley vs. Nomi bersama influencer terkenal di Sarawak, Nasruddin dan Julai Billy pada Selasa ini di TVS saluran 122 Extra dan MyTV. Ada.
我可以跟在你身后，像影子追着光梦游。我可以等在这路口，不管你会不会经过。
7月12号星期一早上9点30分，我是华校生有东马歌后田玉慈的华校故事 Astro 频道122以及 MyTV 尽在 TVS。
Now, it has been a week since new daily COVID-19 infections have stayed above 6,000, with 6,387 reported today. This brings the total infections in Malaysia to 785,039. Selangor still record the highest daily infections with 2,610, followed by Kuala Lumpur with 819 and Negeri Sembilan with 523. At the same time, 77 fatalities recorded today, bringing the death toll to 5,574. Sarawak is at the fourth nationwide with 424 new COVID-19 infections, with no fatality reported, bringing the total cumulative of infections to 66,985. Miri District recorded the highest infections with 120, followed by Kuching with 92 and Telang USAN with 40. Meanwhile, there are 322 patients had been recovered from the infections today. For the cluster update, 3 new clusters were detected, dubbed the Sungai Sebetan cluster in Saratok, Sega cluster in Bau, and Industri 121 Kuala Baram cluster in Miri. 2 clusters has ended, dubbed the Ulu Spauh cluster in Betong and Jalan Airport cluster in Miri. This brings the total active cluster at 98, with 12 of it reported an additional 238 new infections. Kabong District has now turned to orange from yellow zone after the district reported 24 new infections in the past 14 days. Tanjung Manis District is now yellow zone from red, where the district reported 15 infections in the past 14 days. Now, residents in Bau District are confident of achieving 1,000% first dose vaccination rate by the end of July. This was said by Tasik Biru Assemblyman Dato' Henry Jinet on Sunday.
Setakat 3 hari bulan Julai, kita telah berjaya membeli vaksin kepada 29,373 orang. Ini bermakna kita telah mencapai 61.4% yang layak menerima vaksin.
A total of 47,826 registrations for vaccination were recorded in the district, with only 18,453 individuals remaining unvaccinated.
Dan untuk menyelesaikan keseluruhan pemberian vaksin untuk daerah Bau, dianggarkan dalam sebelum hujung Ogos, iaitu kita memerlukan dalam 19 sampai 20 hari untuk mencapai 100% dos pertama dan tambah lagi 21 hari di bulan Ogos dan kita jangka 100% sebelum penghujung Ogos.
Meanwhile, Henry added another vaccination center was open to cater to residents in the district. The About Hospital Vaccination Center operates on weekends and has the capacity to vaccinate 500 people a day. To date, Bao has 5 vaccination centers: the Academy Bomba Bao PPV, Hospital Bao PPV, Sinyawan Health Clinic PPV, and 2 private GPs.
National COVID-19 Immunization Program Coordinating Minister Khairi Jamaluddin remarked that Malaysia is set to receive at least 18.8 million vaccine doses throughout this month. The numbers include 800,000 doses of the Sinovac vaccine contributed by China in mid-July.
Additionally, more than 12 million Sinovac vaccine doses will arrive this month, alongside 4.42 million doses of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine.
Campur dengan dos ataupun sumbangan yang telah pun kita terima daripada negara Amerika Syarikat yang tiba pada pagi ini, iaitu sebanyak 1,350 dos. Jadi jumlah keseluruhan adalah 6,429,150 dos. Manakala selain daripada sumbangan daripada AstraZeneca, negara Jepun, kita juga telah memperolehi 586,700 dos perolehan kerajaan Malaysia yang telah dibuat dengan AstraZeneca. Manakala untuk Sinovac pula, baki penghantaran akan diselesaikan pada bulan ini dan semua 12 juta dos akan kita selesai hantar pada bulan Julai. Jadi pada bulan Ogos dan seterusnya, vaksin di bawah peak yang akan digunakan di bawah peak adalah Pfizer dengan AstraZeneca.
Meanwhile, students continuing their studies abroad are also eligible for vaccination by appointment via the MySejahtera application.
Jadi bagi mereka yang usia 17 tahun tetapi akan jadi usia 18 tahun pada dalam tahun ini juga, mereka boleh divaksinasi, terutamanya mereka yang akan keluar negara, dengan syarat ibu bapa ataupun penjaga mereka menandatangani consent form. Itu dasar yang akan kita maklumkan kepada PPB. Sehingga minggu ini kita telah memberi sejumlah 8,615 janji temu bagi permohonan awal untuk kategori pelajar yang ingin menyambung pengajian ke luar negara dalam program ini.
Malaysia today received 1 million doses of COVID-19 Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine contributed by the United States in support of the country's national COVID-19 immunization program. The consignment was flown in by RAKYAT Airways DH384, which landed at the Sultan Abdulaziz Shah Airport at 8:10 a.m. Present at the airport to await the arrival of the aircraft were Coordinating Minister for the National COVID-19 Immunization Program Khairi Jamaluddin, Foreign Minister Datuk Sri Hishamuddin Tun Hussein, and US Ambassador to Malaysia Brian McFitters.
The vaccine allocation to Malaysia is part of the Biden administration's global strategy to share 80 million doses worldwide this summer. The additional 1 million doses bring the total Pfizer vaccine doses received in Malaysia to date to 6.4 million doses. Khairi said this contribution is symbolic to the concern and trust of the American government in Malaysia to combat the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as supporting the global immunization program. Last Thursday, Malaysia received 1 million doses of the COVID-19 vaccine produced by AstraZeneca from the Japanese government.
DHL Express has successfully delivered the United States government's donations of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine to Malaysia. The logistics provider said the arrival of around 1 million doses came as part of a recent US commitment to assist with recovery efforts worldwide.
DHL Express Asia Pacific Chief Executive Officer Ken Lee said the shipment was made possible via the COVID-19 Vaccines Global Access COVAX program that aimed to accelerate global equitable access to immunization against the pandemic. DHL Express arranged for the collection of the vaccines from facilities in the US before it was airlifted from its Cincinnati hub to the DHL Express Subang Gateway, where it would be distributed to designated locations in Kuala Lumpur. At the same time, DHL Express Malaysia and Brunei Managing Director Julian Neo said, today, DHL had transported more than 300 million doses of approved vaccines worldwide, 5 million of which were to Malaysia.
The Kongsi Rezeki initiative, which has been introduced in Serikei district for a year, has received encouraging responses. Last year, it was only focused on the Asnaf category, orphans and persons with disabilities. However, the initiative has been widened to include the community as a whole.
Tetapi oleh kerana kita menghadapi masalah seperti yang kita hadapi pada hari ini, kita sudah memperluaskan usaha untuk mensasarkan makanan-makanan ini spesifik kepada mereka-mereka yang memerlukan, over and above, selebihan dari apa yang kita bantu menerusi bantuan dari kerajaan negeri yang lepas dan juga daripada yang telah diumumkan oleh Perdana Menteri bagi ahli parlimen.
Lan added that the program was held in mosques and suraus in Serikei, such as the Masjid Al-Mutakin, Masjid Darul Saadah, and Surau Darul Huda. The concept aims to support Serikei community as a whole and not just the Muslims.
Dan cara memohon dia adalah kita gunakan ahli jawatan kawasan masjid di tempat masing-masing ataupun ketua masyarakat, ketua kaum, di mana ketua kaum ataupun tuan rumah. Tuan rumah kita harap dapat mengenal pasti warga di bawah jagaan mereka untuk mengenal pasti yang putus makanan ataupun memerlukan bantuan-bantuan khusus. Kita menggunakan ketua kaum, ketua masyarakat. Dan ketua kaum ini nanti akan berhubung dengan pusat khidmat. Dan pusat khidmat akan berhubung dengan pihak masjid dan jawatan kuasa supaya kena fund tu nanti kita letakkan di bawah disalurkan melalui jawatan kuasa masjid surau. Itulah dari segi kaedah bagaimana kita dapat menyalurkan bantuan ini kepada mereka yang betul-betul. Dengan
Jangan disentuh, mau sekali disentuh. Di episod ke-6 rancangan She Lives Nami bersama influencer terkenal di Sarawak, Nasiruddin dan Julai Billy pada Selasa ini di TVS saluran 122 Astro dan MyTV.
Ada. 我可以跟在你身后，像影子追着光梦游。我可以等在这路口，不管你会不会经过。
7月12号星期一早上9点30分，我是华校生有东马歌后田玉慈的华校故事 Astro 频道122以及 MyTV 尽在 TVS。
Hello everyone, I'm Iki. Guess what? Rhythm of Borneo will be back for its brand new season. So be sure to check out new episodes of Rhythm of Borneo every Saturday, 3 p.m. only on TVS channel 122 Astro as well as MyTV. See you guys there!
My name is Sim Kun Hyung. I'm a restaurant owner, gym owner, and a personal trainer. So I've been in this industry for around 18 years, specific on ladies fat loss program, ladies training on gym weight training and the fat loss course and the nutrition program. Yeah.
Now we're back with global updates. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson will set out plans for the final step in easing England's COVID-19 lockdown after imposing the most onerous restrictions in Britain's peacetime history to battle the novel coronavirus. Johnson is preparing to lift most restrictions in England on July 19th. The final decision will due on July 12th. Data suggests that cases will continue to rise as restrictions are eased, but the link to hospital admissions and deaths has been weakened by a rapid vaccination program. Johnson is expected to say that people will learn to live with COVID as they do already with flu. This meant that hospitalizations, serious illness and deaths will continue but at a much lower level than before widespread vaccination. Several Londoners said they believed it was now time to end the lockdown despite any continuing concerns about the virus. Britain has suffered the 7th highest global death toll from COVID-19. Johnson has been criticized for his decision over the timing of each and England's 3 lockdowns, but the take-up of vaccines in Britain has been strong, with 86% of adults receiving a first dose and 64% receiving 2 doses as of July 4th. Cases of COVID-19 have also risen sharply in Britain in recent weeks, driven by the now dominant Delta variant. The final step of lockdown easing was delayed by 4 weeks to enable more people to be vaccinated. However, Public Health England figures indicate that the vaccines are highly effective in preventing the Delta variant, leading to severe illness or hospital admission. Now, Philippine authorities on Monday ordered an investigation into the crash of an Air Force plane that overshot a runway, killing 47 soldiers on board, 3 civilians on the ground and injuring dozens. According to eyewitness accounts, some passengers on the jumped 3 seconds before the plane crashed and burst into flames on the weekend. It was reported that the aircraft had been trying to land at Jolo Airport in southern Sulu province. All 96 passengers on board had been accounted for, with 49 military personnel injured as well as 4 civilians on the ground, military spokesman said. The plane was said to be in very good condition and had 11,000 flying hours remaining before its next maintenance was due. The military command said the soldiers were flying to the provincial airport of Jolo from Laguin Dingan, about 460 kilometers to the northeast, to be deployed to the battalions. There was no sign. The plane was brought down by insurgent fire, and the Defense Secretary ordered an investigation into the country's worst military air disaster in nearly 30 years. The Lockheed aircraft had only recently arrived in the Philippines and was one of 2 provided by the U.S. government. From fresh Italian basil to aromatic oregano, a young Egyptian entrepreneur, Abdelrahman Ahmed, is operating a small hydroponic farm. He says the farm saves 95% of the water used in traditional farming. Dubbed Nature Works, the project was founded in 2017 by the 31-year-old entrepreneur and has been producing and selling a variety of green goods since. Built on just 1 acre of land, the hydroponic project farms both tilapia fish and fresh vegetables by using the fish waste as natural fertilizer in a closed circle. Ahmad said the fish are bred and fed inside tanks where they release waste. The water is then filtered to remove solid chunks and reused to nourish the plants. Hydroponic gardening is a form of gardening based in water as opposed to soil and relies on nutrients concentrated in a solution of water to feed plants. Due to the limited amount of water used as well as the condensed space between plants, the farm's output stands at roughly what an 8-acre regular fish farm could produce with more water and land. Egypt suffers from significant water shortages due to the combined effects of climate change, pollution, and a growing population. A new mega dam built upstream on the Nile River in Ethiopia also makes the country's access to river water less certain. Well, that's conclude TVS Nightline. I'm Ruben Gomez. Anytime, anywhere.